Baltimore Ravens mock draft 2.0. I did 1.0 last week. Did not love how that turned out. And I'm kind of doing it live like it would be a real draft. I'm editing it after, but I'm going through the draft one time and trying to hit all the needs while also making a best player available type decision. I'm not reaching too far. That would be unrealistic just to fill a need. So hopefully the needs line up with the best player available most of the time, because in the first one that did not really happen, and I did not address the cornerback position. I know we just signed Awuzie, which alleviated a little bit of that pressure, but I would still like to get a corner early in this draft. Hopefully we can get an edge, add to the interior of the defensive line, add some competition to the offensive line, maybe get a receiver, a kicker. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Let's get into it.
Ravens flock rundown is the place to be.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.
Baltimore Ravens mock draft 2.0. Let's get into it. Ravens are on the board. First round, pick 27. Dang, Tyler Booker is still here. He would immediately start at guard. I know some people want Voorhees, but I'm going Tyler Booker, man. I feel like that adds a lot to our offensive line. It gives us a guard for the future. Falele's not under contract after this season, so it's important to get somebody for the future as well, not just this year. We might not have this guard duo moving forward. But anyways, we're up at 59 in the second round. Some quarterbacks still hanging on here. We need an edge. But man, I like Thomas, corner from Florida State. I think this is a very, very interesting pick. Could be an outside corner. Really could start right away. I know the Ravens don't like to start corners right away. But I'm going Thomas from Florida State, man. I think he would start outside of Nate Wiggins pretty quickly, and we just keep Marlon in the slot. That makes a lot of sense to me. It gives us a future cornerback duo of Nate Wiggins and Thomas. Back up in the third round at pick 91. I'm looking for an edge, and it looks like there's some still here. Josiah Stewart's interesting from Michigan. Explosive player, dominated against USC. Struggles when guys double team him, but I think he would not be our main rusher. We're in the third round right here. We're still seeing what we got with Adisa Isaac. Van Noy's still going to play quite a bit this year. Always our main pass rusher. We'll see what we got with David Ajabo. But I think, let me look just to make sure. Man, there's a couple interesting guys here. Nah, we need an edge, man. We don't know what we got with Odafe Owe moving forward. Kyle Van Noy's not going to be here much longer. Let's keep adding to that edge room. Hopefully someone out of, Josiah Stewart or Adisa Isaac or, who knows, maybe David Ajabo. Somebody steps up and becomes a future edge for the Baltimore Ravens. We're getting later in the draft. We're already in the mid-round, so you're not going to get a lot of immediate impact guys, but important to still add depth to this roster and hopefully plan for the future. So we're back up in the fourth round at pick 129. There's so many solid D tackles still here. We got Jalen Reed from Penn State that I kind of like. Looking to get one of these D tackles that fell, probably Joshua Farmer from Florida State. We need to replace Michael Pierce, and I like Joshua Farmer. I also like Jordan Phillips from Maryland. I'm going to go Farmer here in the fourth round. We're back up in the fourth round at pick 136. We could go D-tackle again and continue to stack the trenches. There's an interesting pick down here. Charles Grant, tackle from William and Mary. I know the Ravens just brought him in on a top 30 visit. I think he's going to go a lot higher than where he's at in this, but we're here, and we need to also continue the pipeline of offensive linemen as well. I know Charles Grant probably would not start this year or next year, but, a good tackle, a promising tackle, quick feet, I think could eventually be a right tackle or left tackle replacement whenever we move on from Ronnie. So I'm going to go Charles Grant here at the end of the fourth round. I just think that's great value. Back up in the end of the fifth round, pick 176. I haven't hit wide receiver or safety yet. I think I'm going Crawford from Nevada. I just think he brings a lot of athleticism. He's played multiple positions. I mean, we're at the end of the 5th round here. You know, you're taking shots at a dartboard, hoping to hit a bullseye. But I like his athleticism. He immediately could be a special teams contributor and also add to that safety room. Even though we got Sanusi Kane, Bo Braid coming up, doesn't hurt to add competition. They haven't seen the field much, and we're not committed to our Darius Washington long term. So I'm going to grab a safety here at the end of the 5th round. We're back up at 183 in the 6th round. Just looking to add depth here. We haven't grabbed a wide receiver yet, and I'm thinking about Jimmy Horn from Colorado. Also thinking about Caden Prather from Maryland. I'm a Maryland fan, so I'm a little biased here, but I think I like his size. He's not slow by any means. Ricky White is probably a smarter player, I feel like, but lacks a lot of speed and could be limited. So I'm going to go with Prather here and just add some depth. I might hit another receiver if we still got Jimmy Horn. Yeah, we do still have Jimmy Horn. Let me go look back at the main board. I'm eyeing up another corner here. I know he's not super tall, but I think he's versatile. He can play man and zone. Another special teams guy here, but it doesn't hurt to keep adding to the cornerback room. I still think the future cornerback room for the Ravens is going to be thin. I mean, we'll see what we got with TJ Tampa, but Jalen Armour-Davis probably doesn't have a long-term future here. I know we'll draft a corner early like I did in this draft and got Thomas, but it doesn't hurt to add depth here. So I'm going to go with Justin here from Minnesota in the 6th round. We're back up at 210 in the 6th round, and I was talking about him a couple rounds ago, so I'm going to take Jimmy Horn Jr. from Colorado. We're back up at 212 in the 6th round, and I think I'm going kicker. You know the Ravens are going to have to get a kicker. We might not draft one. I don't think we're going to draft one early, most likely. We might not draft one at all. I mean, Justin Tucker was not drafted. He was an undrafted free agent. Best kicker still remaining seems to be Ben Sauls from Pittsburgh. So I'm going to take a kicker in the 6th round, just in case Tucker gets released. I mean, even Harbaugh's talking about how they need another kicker. Tucker struggled last year anyway, so even if he wasn't released for whatever reason, we probably need to bring in some competition, and a late round pick doesn't really hurt. We're back up at 243 in the 6th round. I'm going to grab Trevor Etienne. I feel like he shouldn't have fell this far. He's got some potential. We don't really need a running back. We obviously got Derrick Henry, Justice Hill, and Keaton Mitchell, Rasheen Ali. Rasheen Ali's role's not too defined, so I'll bring in Etienne to compete with him and probably end up being on the practice squad or playing special teams, but could find a role in the future. And that concludes the Mock Draft 2.0. We get our starting guard for years to come in Tyler Booker. I love Booker, man. I think he immediately starts at probably left guard, and we'll figure it out. But I think we need to add to the trenches, and that was a steal there. Thomas in the 2nd round fills a much-needed outside corner need. I think he would be great opposite of Wiggins. We hit the edge. We get interior depth on the defensive line. I think we get a tackle steal here to add to the future offensive line. We add some safety depth, more corner depth, wide receiver depth. We get a kicker. I like this mock draft. I think this is much better than the first mock draft I did. We pretty much hit every need. I know we didn't get an edge super early. I wanted to go edge in the 1st round, but with Booker sitting there, we need this offensive line as good as possible, man. And I just don't think you could pass on a potential Pro Bowl guard that is sitting there in the 1st round. It's not ideal to go guard in the 1st round. I think we could find more value later in the draft at guard, but this is where I went with this mock draft. We'll see where the next one takes us. Appreciate you guys tuning in to the 2nd mock draft. I think this one went a lot better than the first one. We addressed pretty much every need. We didn't get wide receiver early at all. I don't think we got any game-changing wide receivers in this draft, so that continues to probably be a need moving forward in the future. We're always going to have to add to that pipeline, but I think we got a Pro Bowl caliber guard, a future generational guard for us. And I know a lot of people are high on Voorhees or Falele and think that they're going to start, and they may start, but with a guard like Booker sitting there, I had to pounce on that. We got a great outside corner. We added some depth to the edge room. I'd like to get an edge higher, but there were no game-changing edges that fell in the first round, so it was kind of hard to do. So I feel like I had to add to the offensive line because it was more of a sure thing. There was some solid edges there, but I'm not looking for a solid edge. You know, we ended up getting a solid edge that is going to be in the Adesic Isaac family or the David Ojabo, but like hopefully somebody does take a leap out of that group, but I still don't think the Ravens, even with this draft or on the roster right now, have a game-changing edge. I mean, Odafe Owe is our best edge right now, so we'll see. We're going to have to keep doing mock drafts. We're going to keep adding to the edge room in the future too. It's not just this year. You know, the Ravens do have Odafe Owe and Kyle Van Noy still on the roster with Ojabo and Isaac. So unless we're getting a first round edge, unless a Pierce or somebody like that falls, I really don't think that we're going to be able to get a game-changing edge at 27. And that's kind of how this mock draft went as well. So that's the one position group I wish I would have got earlier, but you can't get everything. You know, I got a starting guard and a cornerback that I feel like are going to add a ton of value to the Ravens for years to come. So adding to the edge room, I just got depth where I could. Same with the interior of the defensive line. But those guys I think you can get later in the draft. This is a very deep D-tackle class. So unless a freak falls to you at 27, you probably should wait on adding a D-tackle just because it's so deep. There's so many guys that you can get. And then you end up landing Travis Jones in the third round because somebody's going to fall and the Ravens are going to pounce on it. So overall, I'm happy with the way this mock draft went. I think this is light years better than the first mock draft. So let me know what you guys are thinking. What would you have done differently with who was on the board? What do you guys think the Ravens should do in the first couple rounds at least? What are the most priority positions that we need to fill? Let me know what you guys are thinking. I appreciate you as always for tuning in to another episode of the Flock Rundown. Have a beautiful rest of your day. And I'll let the greatest linebacker in the history of the game take us out.
Ravens Flock. The Flock Rundown is the place to be. My man Ryan has been a lifelong Ravens fan since he was born. The Flock Rundown. Nothing gets better than waking up and wondering how high we can fly. Tune in.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.